Hey guys, it's Jet 888 here. It's August 19th today. I'm going to go look real quickly, trying to make as much bulletproof or bullet points as I can is regarding what I saw in Maui and what I'm hoping won't happen here tomorrow in the San Diego area. And I'm going to be pointing out to reasons why I think that we will probably be under attack like Maui was. Maui was not a wildfire. It was an attack. And I think that people are being censored, definitely being censored, getting the truth out. But I'm going to show you a couple things. And as you see, our skies are completely socked in. Yesterday, they're really pretty. But anyhow, I'm going to go inside and show you a couple of my the pointers as to why I think we need to have a real heads up here in San Diego.
He's been sitting next to Cheeseburger in Paradise, selling the most awesome stuff, right, for years. He's like a legend, and everyone loves Fish, and Fish loves everybody. But he's one of the wisest people that I know. He's not homeless; he's houseless by choice, by the way. Anyway, Fish, continue.
So I went around back to Front Street, and all the cars were lined up, but none of them were moving. And I walked all the way from Safeway to the Chart House. Not one car had moved. And I was wondering what was stopping the traffic. Well, it was a policeman. And I got to the end, and I looked up north. There were no obstructions. There was no reason to keep those cars there.
Are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack. And I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I'm under orders to keep them here." And I said, "The fire is right around Safeway. It's going to hit Front Street. You know, these people got to get out of here." And he said, "I'm following orders."
No way.
And so I just kept walking. And well, maybe he knows something I don't, you know. So, and I keep walking down the highway, and I look behind. No cars are coming out. I beat, still no cars coming out. And I started hearing boom, boom, boom. And
You're blockaded in by the police at the end of Front Street.
yeah,
Like where the restaurant is.
right, where the Chart House
Where the
was.
Chart House was, I should
Right.
say. There was a blockade there, and they could not go any further.
Right, I walked.
What the hell?
I walked all the way from Safeway to there. Not one car had moved, and people walking in front of me. The people in the cars are saying, "Would you like a ride?" And they're going, "Oh, okay." And they'd get in. They asked me, I said, "No, you better get out of here." You know, but they just, "Well, we were told to evacuate by car." Okay, so I just kept walking, and I got all the way to, like I said, the Civic Center, and then I started hearing all the explosions, and there was no one walking behind me or on bicycles or anything. And
Dude, that is unbelievable.
I had no idea, you know, until the next day when I walked down there to what had happened. I said, "Oh my."
So did you go up north to your place?
Yeah,
Yeah. And then you just hunkered down for the night?
yeah.
And then you came down to Front Street, or the fire? Because I know the fire burned right above your place. Did it get close to you?
It got to the Civic Center, right where the tennis courts are at, all around through there. That's where they stopped it.
Wow.
Okay, so that's just one account of many. I've heard of many accounts where the supposed authorities are not helping at all. And this guy, not only was that police officer not helping, he was actually hindering people to leave the area. Oh, and also this little guy, he doesn't have a phone or anything. He's not connected to any kind of electronics, by the way. Okay, I want to share a little bit of some other articles that I'm seeing. This was published August 9th. That was the day after Maui. This says DoD releases findings from independent panel review of microelectronics quantifiable assurance effort. Washington AFNS, results of a Department of the Air Force review of the Office Under Secretary of Defense for Research and Engineering's microelectronics quantifiable assurance efforts were released August 3rd. And I'll leave this link, but I want to show you just one more thing. I'm going to read just the bottom part of this. The study was informed by expertise briefings and materials from the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. The study was further supported by the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisitions, and sustainment acquisitions executives from all three services, the National Security Agency, the Joint Federated Assurance Center, as well experts from Department of Defense labs, the Defense Industrial Base, the semiconductor industry, as well as academia. Semiconductor, I'm going to look at that. I'm going to read from this techtarget.com. What is a semiconductor? So a semiconductor substance lies between the conductor and insulator. It controls and manages the flow of electric current in electronic equipment and devices, such as your cell phone. Semiconductor, a material used in electrical circuits and components that partially conduct electricity. Reading a little further down here, it says also known as semis or chips. Semiconductors can be found in thousands of products such as computers, smartphones, appliances, gaming hardware, and medical equipment. Okay, just reading this last sentence. Their actual function includes the amplification of signals, switching, and energy conversion. Therefore, they find widespread use in almost all industries, and the companies that manufacture and test them are considered to be excellent indicators of the health of the overall economy. Remember above here it says a semiconductor is a material product usually comprised of silicon. Have I shown this anagram before? Silicon Valley. The anagram is sly eco-villain. And remember that study said the study was informed by expertise briefings and materials from the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering. And here you got your Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisitions and Sustainment, and Department of Defense labs, the Defense Industrial Base, the semiconductor industry. So here's the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, abbreviated USD, is the senior official of the United States Department of Defense. So the senior official is charged with the development and oversight of technology strategy for the DoD. And here she is, Heidi Shiyu, or Shiyu, I don't know how to say that. She's got the eagle resting on her shoulders. Deputy David A. Honey. So she was born in Taipei, Taiwan. She's 69 years old in Taipei. So we have someone born from another country who is in charge for the oversight of technology strategy for the DoD. Her length of term is no fixed term. I'll leave this link. And this article about the microelectronics quantifiable assurance. Assurance is another word to say vow. She took a vow. Here's the logo, Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, USDR&E. The anagram for that is D asunder. D as in D-Day, the beginning of the end. And asunder is apart, divided. So they put someone from Taiwan as our Secretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, who calls the shots to the DoD and decides the strategy. And the wind is picking up. And I covered on August 8th, I covered the flying overhead of my area. And I've been actually covering them for quite a while. Here's just one flight over Paradise Hill, which is just north of me. But this is just one flight. So I believe that this video was posted, my video was posted on the 9th. But this, I was covering August 8th. And I was showing live the flights that were going overhead. Now here's Bonita. And the anagram for Bonita is obtain. So talk about acquisitions. And right over here is the Coronado. That is the military or the Navy base. And I called because this helicopter was flying in circles for over 3 hours over my head, and they belong to the United States Army. So when I called to the Coronado military, the Navy base, I asked them what was going on, what was all the flying overhead going on, and the PR, was it personal relations guy, public relations, he told me that they were doing some kind of red something. He couldn't remember what it was, but I looked up and saw that they were having a thing called Red Flag 23-3, Uniting U.S. Armed Forces. They published this on August 8th. They published this on the day that I had called and asked. That was interesting because what they said was it was going from July 17th to August 4th. And this is where all the, Air Force, Space Force, Marine Corps, Navy, National Guard, I think I even saw the Border Security, but they were all in it together. They're all working together, and it's interesting. Staff Sergeant Sean Hetz, like Hertz. And this article written on August 8th says last week of red flag occurred. It wasn't. It didn't occur last week. They were actually doing it on the 8th, as I proved and I showed in live documentation. In the bottom of this article, it also reads, this is talking about the guy Winterbottom gave, I'll talk about him later, but by training together in a realistic and challenging environment, the USAF and Navy enhanced their joint capabilities, bolstering the nation's ability to maintain a free and open Indo-Pacific. Is National City an Indo-Pacific area or region? Or is Hawaii the Indo-Pacific? I think that Hawaii is the Indo-Pacific region, and here it says Hawaii, which plays a central role in our national defense strategy, and the Indo-Pacific is an important element of this initiative and stands to continue to benefit from the investments necessary to implement PDI. July 18th, 2023. So this was some kind of meeting, some press release. Case annual defense authorization bill passed by House fails on national issues but further strengthens Hawaii's role in the Indo-Pacific. July 18th, 2023. So that picture was of Congressman Ed Case. So they talk about strengthening America's national defense in the Indo-Pacific and improving the Department of Defense's relationship with the local community. I don't see their definition, though, on what a relationship is. So part of this goes on to saying requiring the Secretary of Defense to develop a plan for the transition of Joint Task Force Red Hill. You got the red flag, now you got the Red Hill. This transition plan will ensure continued engagement and communication with the community and state and local stakeholders. This is requiring the Secretary of Defense to conduct feasibility study into leveraging resources across states and the private sector to better advance the Department of Defense State Partnership Program. The Hawaii National Guard currently has partnerships with Indonesia and the Philippines. They talk about Space Force missions. This also says making the defense community infrastructure pilot permanent. This program provides grants to support community infrastructure projects that benefit military installations and those who live near military bases. And they talked about how Hawaii received $2.5 million. How much were we given to Ukraine? I don't know. Through this program to work with the Department of Land and Natural Resources to construct a new firefighting and conservation warehouse to improve wildfire response and enable maintenance and repair of firefighting vehicles. The military wants to continue to use this program to help Hawaii in future years. So just 1 year before that, if not less, they still, anyhow, we just saw what happened. This is interesting. Authorizing U.S. Special Operations Forces to continue training Taiwan. Remember Heidi Shayu? She's from Taiwan. So it's also interesting is Lockheed Martin here. You have them near the airport on Honolulu and 86 miles away right here. Sorry, I overshot that. Right there is the fire. Now they keep changing where the fires were, but look, see up on that little hill? There's your red hill. Years ago I did studying on Red Hill also, and there's underground tunnels in this under here, just to let you know. So I just want to show one flight here. This was the day before the fires, Monday the 7th of August at 7:29 a.m. and it went till 8:52 a.m. And this is Windward Aviation. Now here's one guy, and this is the flight, the helicopter 690WA. Steve here supports Windward Aviation. It's called he's an on-call pilot for Hawaiian Electric Company. And as a senior pilot for the Honolulu Fire Department, where he did search, rescue, and firefighting operations. And then here's one more guy. He also flies Black Hawks for the Hawaii Army National Guard. Now the red spots there are where the fires were on Maui. So here's their flight. I mean, it looks like they're probably checking power lines, maybe, or something. The day before the fires. So here's the altitude because you're up on a hill. But here it's all below 200 feet was their flight. And here's their schedule. So they did 2 flights on Monday, nothing on the 8th. But then a lot of flights after the fire. That's where one of the fires was. So that red flag day, the red flag, this guy, Eric Winterbottom, he was the commander of the 414 CTS Red Flag Chief Forces. He was part of this whole red flag exercise, Winterbottom. It's interesting how the word Mayday is also 414. And he's on the LinkedIn Deutschland also, talking about being the commander of the 414th. I don't know what CTS is, sorry, I'm ignorant. Red Flag Chief Forces Management Division. The Air Expeditionary Group. Plans and programs. Now he talks here about, let me read, I'm just going to write. It says they provide realistic multi-domain training in a combined air, ground, space, and electronic threat environment while providing opportunities for a free exchange of ideas between forces. That's part of that red flag kickoff at Nellis Air Force Base. And remember, they say it stopped or ended it on August 4th, but it didn't. Now, because the mayor there in Maui is already talking about buying up the property and making it state-owned, because they want to upgrade it and modernize it. So they want to make it a smart city. So I looked up Smart Maui, just looked at the anagram, and it's IMUS Trauma. And IMU, so IMUS is plural. In Hawaii, an underground oven in which meat and vegetables are cooked. Anyhow, I went and looked at Eric Winterbottom's LinkedIn. So there's Air Force officer, and he check this, dreams can come true, ATP in 737, type rating complete. He liked this article, it's no big deal, but I just went and looked at what this is. and it was about an MQ-9. They're the cornerstone of the United States Marine Corps' unmanned expeditionary concept, which transforms a traditional marine air ground task. Now here's a picture that was taken June 20th, and it says photo USMC MQ-9 taxiing at Marine Corps Air Station Caneo Bay, June 20th, 2023. And this says MQ-9 is a key part of the strategy. The aircraft operate from Marine and Navy units providing intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, targeting. It talks about electronic attack. So here they call it the Reaper ER, and I can leave this, but that's the unmanned fleet. This is the MQ-9s are cornerstones of the Marine Corps' unmanned expeditionary concept, which takes the traditional Marine Air Ground Task Force, sheds much of its former heavy equipment, and sends it into action as a lighter but highly lethal stand-in force that exploits new networks and new weapons with the same old Marine Corps audacity. This also says the Reaper provides surveillance with full motion video and synthetic aperture radar that has moving target indication capabilities. They talk about looking forward to rapid deployment with these MQ-9Ers or ERs, and they talk about the president of the DoD strategic development, Patrick Shortsleeve. This capability will be key, whatever. I'm going to go down here, and ultimately for U.S. Indo-Pacific Command as we pace ourselves to outmaneuver our adversaries. That was said on August 14th, 2023. So 5 days ago. Again, they talk about electronic attack, and they also refer to it as New Pacific Pivot. Here's a Carnegie Endowment, the new pivot, shifting power dynamics in the Indo-Pacific. So it states, since the end of the Cold War, the Indo-Pacific region has become one of the most dynamic geopolitical regions in the world. Here's a picture also from General Atomics Aeronautical. Also regarding this red flag thing, I've seen a lot of references to the Blues forces, aircraft and personnel deployed to Nellis for red flag under the Air Expeditionary Force concept and make up the exercises Blue Forces. But they were doing these exercises also over San Diego. 1 week ago, General Atomics Aeronautical Systems was talking about their Mojave UAS, El Mirage, California, but they also said that their traditional fixed-wing aircraft's dependence on prepared runways, clearing the way for expanded basing options from remote desert plains to island beaches. And they show this little experimental dude with little teeth. There's some drawing they did, air rendering of an MQ-9 on a long-range reconnaissance mission over Indo-Pacific. So anyhow, they were in the Hawaii area, and they even say that the MQ-9 is part of the strategy. Aircraft operate above Marine and Navy units, providing intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, targeting, communications, networking, and more. So a unit posted on that small remote island may not see a hostile warship out at sea with its own eyes, but the Reaper does. Anyhow, so they've referred to a lot of Pacifico, the islands and stuff as well. I just find that flight in Maui where the fires were seems a teeny bit north of the fires, but right on top of that mountain there, right there. Isn't that interesting? And this one article talked about, this is kind of weird. Their wording here is they said U.S. President Joe Biden will head to fire-ravaged Hawaii on August 21st. Remember, he said no comment to the people, to meet with survivors and first responders still hunting for victims. When have I ever seen that word, hunting for victims? Why isn't it searching for victims, like search and rescue? You don't hunt for victims. So that's a kind of weird wording, I feel. But looking at that red flag 23-3, the Uniting U.S. Armed Forces. I looked at the anagram for that. And that's Maui UN Nets Force Grid. Or it could be UN, let's see, UN Forces Net Grid. Just one more strange little thing about this red flag 23-3. When you look at the word red flag, their simple gematria equals 53. Sorry about my camera, it's 53. And then we have the 23-3, so 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So when you reduce both of those, it's 53, and 53 is also 8-8, which this whole attack happened on August 8th, which is 8-8. One interesting thing I noticed too here is you have that Halakala Observatory, and you got your fires just north of it. And also on that mountain right next to them is the Air Force Maui Optical and Supercomputing area. And here's what this looks like. This is the University of Hawaii Institute for Astronomy. I may have shared this before, but the anagram that I found for that is IT Fortunate Monstrosity. I guess like an oxymoron, but some people are, you got the haves and have-nots, I guess. But they were responsible for the first telescope. They called it, this thing, Pan-STARRS 1. And they're the first people also to do the first DEW weapon on this island. But anyhow, I looked at the anagram for this Pan-STARRS 1 and I spelled it out. So it looks like this, Pan-STARRS 1, and guess what the anagram is for it? A trans person. Isn't it kind of funny in this political arena today? And even though right down here was the driest of the island and they're trying to label it as climate change, this wasn't the area that burned. They're trying to make it look like this burned, but I haven't seen any other fire indicators except for this. Oh, and also this 311. So I just want to show you where they say that the droughts are the worst, and where they were the worst isn't where the fires were. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But Bezos is right down there on his little Le Perouse Bay, or however you say that. But it didn't burn. Nothing down there burned. One news coverage I saw was talking about scenes of devastation. Sorry, I'll get back to that 311 later, maybe if I have time. Scenes of devastation, and they show this for some reason, but there's your Josh Green. He is awful. So the CBS Morning's Scenes of Devastation title, I looked at the anagram for it, and Scenes of Devastation is Codes On, Festive Satan, or Satan festoon devices. And the reason why I looked at the festoon word is because here you have the UN's logo, and even according to them, this is on their site that I looked at for this description, it says a festoon, this isn't from them, but a festoon, I'm giving you the definition. A festoon is a wreath or garland hanging from 2 points. Garland, as in Judy Garland, as in the Wizard of Oz. We'll get to that later. But even the UN states that their emblem and flag is inscribed in a wreath consisting of crossed, conventionalized branches of the olive tree. Here's another look at festoon. And here was a helicopter given to the firefighting department, Maui Fire Department. Look at that. They have like a little festoon on their helicopter for some reason, and their number happens to be N911DS. 911Ds. One thing I thought was kind of weird, and I'm going to get to looking at Lockheed a little bit, but here I saw a lot of helicopter activity around here the day before the fire, and when I went and looked here at this 311, see here I'm at 311, and see that building way over there? So there is this military base looking thing on top of this hill. But they have this little weird building. I think it's called a telephone building or something. Let me go see. Oh, and right before it, because see it's over there in the background, it's Adopt a Highway Litter Control next 2 years by Bayer. Bayer is a German company, German pharmaceutical company. Why would they be adopting a highway, I wonder? But isn't that weird? When I get close, Google tries to block it out. And that's that, and I'm going to do a little side by side. I thought was interesting. So here you got your little, this is some kind of like telephone building or something, but there's your little arc. I just thought that looked kind of interesting. But you know what, I'm going to go back to talking about my area. If anyone's covered me for the last couple of years, I talk about these planes and these flights, and lots of flights happen right in this area, National City, with the Coronado being off to the left. But Lockheed Martin, they have a place here on Coronado. And when I went there and looked and dropped my little cursor down onto the road, this is what I saw. Right at the address, Navy SEAL Foundation was the Lockheed Martin. They have it on their door. But they have an area. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 6 points in San Diego. There's Mexico right here. See the red? That's Lockheed. Over there in Coronado, which Coronado is due Corona. And here's one. There's one that's specifically for firefighting. And this one, let me show you this one. This is kind of interesting. This guy up here. On their building, they have these little flags, these umbrellas. It almost looks like a black and white checkerboard pattern. When you look at the building, this is what it looks like from the front. And I think it's kind of interesting because talking about islands and stuff, when you look at Epstein's little island, little James Island, this is Epstein's island. Epstein, Lockheed. And this is their anagram. I'm sure it's just one possibility, but that's what I saw. And that specific Lockheed Martin is located on Willow Creek Road, and right down the street, if you look, you can see visuals. This is Willow Creek Road, and there's Lockheed right to the right that you can't see because it's on the other side of the street. But this is the school bus that was parked right outside. That's the address right outside Lockheed. It's kind of interesting. So I might be wrong, but so here's Lockheed. I'm not wrong about this, but maybe my conclusion is, but there's Lockheed's over there in Honolulu, and there's Maui. It's 86 miles away. Here's Lockheed Martin. There's Silicon Valley basically right there. 111 or 1111, 1111, Lockheed Martin, just south of San Francisco. And there's Paradise that got hit. It's 199 miles away. And here's my local area that's been flying around in Chula Vista, San Diego area. And we've got 5 Lockheed Martins right centering all the activity that we've seen with the helicopters lately. So I was just wondering, are we next? And when I look here and you go here to the amphibious base, this is one of their buildings from the sky. Look at it on Google Earth. You can find it. Look, I'll show you. Here we're going up the Silver Strand. Right there's Coronado. This little island that you see is Coronado. That's due Corona, D-O Corona, if you really want to look at it. But right there, I'm going to drop this little guy right here. This is right outside, this is on Strand Way. He's right at the Naval Air Force Base in Coronado. And there's Lockheed from above, and I'm right in the middle of this. In fact, where's all that air flight pattern is right around here. So when that hurricane Hillary comes in tomorrow, you think that we're going to be, well, I might miss it because I'm on the outside of it, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen with their energy weapon potential that they've got, and they're surrounding this area that they've been focusing on for so long. And I'm going to zoom in for you real quick here. And this is, I don't know, maybe ask me if people should be nervous about this. There's Crow. See that? C-R-O-I-X. That means cross. And look at this. This is a building that Coronado Amphibious Base has. This is our military. This is our Navy base right here. What do you think that looks like? Huh? Isn't that interesting? I just think it's kind of funny because when you look at the Goldilocks and the three bears, they always do things in threes. 3 little pigs, 3 bears. This is the anagram. Is Goldilocks and the 3 bears is Lockheed's board, Hitler's agents. And this is their logo, Lockheed Martin's. When you look at the naval, the SEALs, the Navy SEALs Foundation that it says, and it has the name Lockheed, but you go on the street and you look at their window, and this is what it is. I see an OK sign, which would be 666. I see a little claw, or it could be a little devil's pitchfork. I see a little devil tail there, and I see the eagle beak. Anyhow, I just get a little nervous with so much Lockheed surrounding us because this is their own website. Look how they put holes in vehicles. This is with their lasers, harnessing the power of lasers. This is their page, and this is what they say. Lockheed Martin has a broad range of expertise and experience with advanced beam control, fiber-based spectral beaming, combining specialized sensors and system integration, including a company-sponsored 30 kW Aladdin Athena system, supplemented by current programs such as the D-Relay HEL-MD program for the U.S. Army. And remember in the Bible, in John 1:1, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And I look at John 1:1, and in Hebrew Gematria, it's 888. And they were flying a figure 8 formation overhead on that day that I covered it on August, I think my video came out August 9th, but I covered it on August 8th. And they were making the figure 8 on 8:8. And anyhow, when you look at John, when I look at John 1:1, and I just change the anagrams, you'll just look at anagrams, it's John Neo-Eon, and that's John, ideal world. And you know how they're trying to, like, the whole New World Order? Hopefully the ideal world goes in our favor, but from what I'm seeing, and I've shown this before, just the acquisitions, the mergers and acquisitions, and they're trying to acquire everyone's land like they did in Maui. And it does remind me of like the maypole, like the twister, like a hurricane, tornado, like the Oz hurricane as it's taking up the houses. One weird thing, remember how Biden gave $700 to everybody? Well, 700 is V, and it's also monopoly, and monopoly is like monopole, which is like the one, I don't know, even the 5G poles, monopole, and the maypole, and then you got the May Day, which is 414, which is kind of where we started in the beginning, 414. And just one more anagram, and a little concern for something that I found, the word stakeholders is heartless old Kess. And remember how Klaus Schwab is always talking about the stakeholders? So heartless old Kess, and I didn't know what Kess was, so I went and looked at that. And Kess is Comb Engineering Systems Incorporated. They're here in San Diego. And when you look at comb, it's like a muck. But Kess is an engineering company offering professional services for United States Navy. An employee-owned company, Kess. And here's their logo, just like that Lockheed's logo in Coronado, which was the Navy SEAL Foundation. But here's the founder. He owns the company, John Yee. This is him, Kess Incorporated owned company. Founder and chairman, CEO. But I think they have big possibilities also of doing some damage here in San Diego if they want. So they're all into the, they were awarded the next seaport, next generation, small businesses, from the government. So they were contracted, and it says they'll compete for individual task order supporting Naval Sea Systems Command, Space and Naval Warfare Systems Command, Naval Supply Systems Command, Military Sea Lift Command, you name it, keep going. So Cass here is a minority-owned small business. With highly qualified staff specializing in technology, innovation, and systems integration by combining innovative products and reliable engineering services. Founded in 1994, headquartered in San Diego, California. They have in-depth experience and knowledge and dedicated team of professionals. But look at this, and this is what they're doing to Maui. Under task order, KES will provide specialized support in the execution of Aegis ballistic missile defense and Aegis ashore systems engineering and configuration management. Provide support to Navy modernization process implementation, design management, blah, 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 systems testing and training. Anyhow, if anyone wants to know if for some reason San Diego gets wiped out like Maui did, you might have a few ideas of where to look. And here's your Department of Defense, United States of America. You know what? The word American is in camera. This is a Department of Defense, October 1999, about Public Key Infrastructure Roadmap. And this signature looks so weird. They don't have the name of who it is, but it almost looks like it says due money. Assistant Secretary of Defense, Command, Control, Communications, and Intelligence. So when they were talking about modernization, I just thought that was interesting because Moderna and stuff, but it says modernization is the process of updating something or making it work in a contemporary setting. The process of starting to use the most recent methods, ideas, equipment, etc. It doesn't say the best, it says just the most recent, so that something becomes or seems more modern. So just for fun, because I have nothing else to do, I looked at Moderna, and it reminded me of their operating system. So when I looked at the word Moderna, it's roadmen or demo RNA. But when we look at the word roadmen too, look at that. They're laying fiber optics. And they say here, the undersea cables are the latest tools. And here's for high-speed internet. You saw me cover this a lot, them laying out the fiber optics. And fiber optics in themselves aren't bad. It's when you use it to connect with Wi-Fi, not cabled. So this just made me go look at the word undersea cables real quick, or just the word undersea. Remember this from Disney, Under the Sea, Sebastian Sea, it says Under the Sea. They have to have their number 6 in there. But here he is, your little lobster guy. And the anagram for Under the Sea is He Denatures. And look at this, it says, the song is a plea by the crab Sebastian, convincing Ariel to remain seabound and resist her desire to become a human in order to spend her life with Prince Eric. Have anyone heard about the Eric, the telecom communications company? It's called Eric's Son. It's E-R-I-C, I think it's S-S-O-N, Eric's Son, with whom she has fallen in love. Resist her desire to become human. And when I looked at the anagram for Sebastian C, it's B satanic. Sorry, I got that wrong. It's ebbs satanic, like flows, ebbs and flows, like oozes satanic. That's interesting because down here they talk about, of course it's Disney, Mencken and Ashman, ash to ash. Anyhow, there's a lot of money going to these defense companies, and 46.3 million. It's just disgusting because they can only give 700 to the citizens that they blew up and incinerated. I mean, there's so much. It's so unorganized how I presented this. I'm really sorry. And I need to go, though, batten down the hatches. But that whole attack was electromagnetic, I think. And they're playing with all their technology at our expense. There's just so much more, but I have to go, you guys. I'm sorry. And this guy, he kept poking up. And what's interesting is he died on August 8th. That's 8/8. And Wilhelm Moberg, he's a Swedish journalist and author, and he actually was trying to talk out and speak out against the communism and all that. He's actually a good guy. These are just some of his not the anagram, sorry, the gematria. Intel, happen, spike, ripple, replace, Soledad, that's in San Diego, amount Soledad. English simple for Moberg, the English simple gematria is orange for diamond, word, believe, kraken, holy, raven, order, police, and dreams. The dreams is interesting because when you look at the, I think I was looking at the word zodiac, it looked like Oz Axe. Okay, so in the long run of it, it kind of got to the word sonar with me. I saw the word sonar by looking at that. And when I looked at sonar in Spanish, it means dream. And when you look at that song Dream Weaver by Gary Wright, I just looked at some of his lyrics talking about the Dream Weaver train. I was thinking about that being the Dream Weaver. Sorry, I'm getting tired and I'm hungry. The train, the RR, it kind of reminds me of Rockefellers and Rothschilds, which I think is weird because the word Thor is also part of all this do energy weapons, and Thor and Roth just backwards. Anyhow, okay, I'm tired, you guys, sorry. They're talking about starry skies, and I see that as rays, strikes, astral plane, highways. Anyhow, this is an interesting song if you look at it a little bit differently, deeper. It says, I believe we can reach the morning light. And when I look at the CDC's logo, it kind of looks like that to me. Oh yeah, and the word Moberg, I think that's how you say it, Moberg. Anyhow, he's, Sonic is another one of those words that goes with him. Okay, and there's your police who didn't help the people get out. In fact, they blocked them from getting out because they're just following orders. So please don't be an order follower, okay? Because you're still responsible for your actions. So any police or emergency people, please don't be order followers. Okay, I gotta go, you guys. I'm getting tired. Okay, bye.